Meeting of the Clearwater City Council. Our invocation this evening will be offered by Reverend William Sherman from the Mount Carmel Baptist Church, and then we're going to have a special group of people doing our invocation. Pastor Sherman, would you please come forward?
Let me express my personal thanks to you, your credit cards, for this opportunity. I pray God blessings upon each of you. God continue to give you leadership and wisdom. Let us pray. O God, our help in ages past, our hope for years to come, our shelter from the stormy blast, and our eternal hope. We humble ourselves before you this evening, recognizing, like David claimed, all our help comes from you. And so we fall in prostration at your awesomeness. Like Ezekiel, we find ourselves in the valley of destitution. We find ourselves in a place where we cannot predict tomorrow. But like Ezekiel, we can say emphatically, oh God, you know, you have the word, you have the power. So I pray this evening, oh God, give us the faith to believe that with you all things are possible. Give us the hope that our tomorrow will be better than our today. To this we commit ourselves. We invite your presence in this gathering, guide the deliberation, and I pray this prayer in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Amen.
And our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by some friends and family of our 30-year employee, Tracy Kimball. Children, please go straight to the, right there. Then we'll get you on TV and smile, and you can lead us in the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before y'all return to your seats, why don't y'all come up close and give us your name so that everybody will know who y'all are. Excuse me. Go on.
Bryce.
Good. Right.
Abigail.
Abigail.
Austin.
Great. Thank y'all very much. Y'all can sit now. Thank you. And Pastor, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate all the work that you do at Mount Carmel, and especially the Law Day program that you have for our police and firefighters and emergency personnel. Thank you, sir, for your leadership. And so, Council, let us now bring forward our 30-year employee, Tracy Kimball, from our police department to recognize her for her service to our community.
Communications Manager Tracy Kimball began her employment as a police communications operator trainee in the Communications Center on March 12, 1990. Prior to that, Tracy worked as a police aide. She notably served as an active duty member of the United States Air Force from 1985 to 1989 as a staff sergeant and remained in the United States Air Force until 1993. Go Air Force. Tracy excelled in her position in the Communications Center and quickly worked her way up the ranks, serving as senior police communications operator and as a communications supervisor. She gained invaluable experience and learned the nuances of the Communications Center, thus making her well suited for the position of communications manager, a position that she was promoted to on July 25th, 2015. Tracy was recognized with a letter of recognition in 2006 for her calm and professional actions and coordinated teamwork that resulted in the quick identification and capture of a homicide suspect. She also received a letter of recognition for outstanding performance during a surprise storm that caused severe damage to our city. Tracy's personnel file is full of commendations from officers, personnel, and citizens thanking her for her professionalism and for keeping us safe. Tracy holds a bachelor's degree from the University of South Florida. She has expanded training by creating quality assurance programs, critical incident reviews, and employee resilience, particularly in the areas of mental health, first aid, and critical self-care for her team. In September 2017, Tracy was in command of the Communications Center through the impact of Hurricane Irma that resulted in an 84% increase in call volume compared to that same time period the previous year. Tracy is an invaluable asset to the police department, and she embraced all of the challenges that have come her way. She is a dedicated employee and will have no trouble leading the Police Communications Center into the future. Thank you for your years of service to the city of Clearwater. Tracy Kimball, 30 years.
Something for your other hand. Well done.
Let's do two. Yes. No, that's a hug. Okay, thank you, Tracy. Thanks.
Well done.
Thank you very much, sir.
Great job, Tracy.
Congratulations, Tracy.
And since we were recognizing our police department, I know the entire council and the department joins in extending our sympathies to the family of our former police chief, Sid Klein, who passed away earlier this week. Council, are there any addition or corrections to the minutes of March the 5th?
Move approval. Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the minutes of March the 5th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Anybody from the public wishing to speak to an item that is not on the agenda? If so, please come forward at this time. You would have 3 minutes to speak, and we would ask that you give your name to us and fill out a card with the clerk. No public comments, so we will move on to the consent agenda, items 7.1 through 7.13. Are there anybody from council or the public that wishes to pull an item off the consent agenda, items 7.1 through 7.13?
James Lewis, I would like to pull agenda item 7.7 for discussion.
7.7, okay? Thank you. We'll do that later, okay?
Move approval of the consent agenda 7.1 through 7.6 and 7.8 through 7.13.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve the consent agenda, items 7.1 through 7.6 and 7.8 through 7.13. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 7.7, Mr. Horner.
Thank you, Mayor. Authorize the Clearwater Police Department to accept a Florida Department of Health Helping Emergency Responders Obtain Support Program HEROES grant to update the department's Narcan supply in the valued amount of $39,438 and authorize the appropriate officials to execute same. Chief Slaughter.
Chief Dan Slaughter, the Police Department. The department was first issued naloxone, which is a Narcan, to select personnel in 2016, and then we expanded it to all personnel in 2017. In 2019, the department responded to 280 overdoses and deployed Narcan 21 times. It's a central tenet to have this product with our Pinellas County Opioid Task Force tenants. It has a shelf life, so our current inventory is set to expire in May of 2020. In January of this year, the Florida Police Chiefs Association made it available through the Florida Department of Health HEROES program. So we applied for this, and it's a similar grant to what we received in 2018 for a supply. The most recent application was approved, allotting 590 doses or 295 packages. And the estimated value of this is $39,438. There is no required match or impact to the department's operating budget.
Any questions of staff on agenda item 7.7? Anybody from the public to speak to agenda item 7.7?
Good evening, Mayor and council members, Mr. Horn, Ms. Aiken. My name is James Lewis. I reside at 616 Lake Forest Road and am a student in the Public Policy and Administration program under the direction of Jeff Cronshnobble at SPC. I come before you tonight to speak on Agenda Item 7.7 to authorize Clearwater Police Department to accept the Florida Department of Health Heroes Program grant to update the department's Narcan supply in the valued amount of $39,438 and to authorize appropriate officials to execute same. In 2017, 5,088 Floridians died of drug overdose, and in Pinellas County in 2018, the death toll was 323 people, according to the CDC. Last year, Clearwater Police Department responded to 280 overdoses and deployed Narcan 21 times to save 21 lives, as you heard from Chief Slaughter. Narcan is the common brand name for naloxone, which reverses the life-threatening respiratory depression caused by natural and synthetic opioids by displacing narcotics from the opioid receptors in the brain's central nervous system for 30 to 90 minutes, enough time to get needed medical attention. CPD became the first department in the Tampa Bay area to carry and administer Narcan in 2016, following the passage of Florida Statute 381.887, allowing emergency responders to carry and administer naloxone. That year, the department bought 50 kits at $75 each, using seizure funds for that purpose. The Florida Department of Health's generous grant of 590 doses at a value of $39,348, or roughly $66 per dose, with no required matching funds and no adverse effect on the department's budget, is a great deal. These doses are needed to replace the current doses that expire in May 2020, and the new doses will not expire until October 2021, according to Lieutenant Laura Spellman. These 590 doses are enough to supply every officer on the force and establish a reserve. CPD has met the Florida Department of Health's two requirements. First, that the city must be able to report naloxone administrations through the Emergency Medical Services Tracking and Reporting System. And second, the department must register for the Minnesota Multi-State Contracting Alliance for Pharmacy Agreement. The opioid crisis is a public health emergency, and the deaths resulting from the overdoses are a tragedy. Prescribed users overdose and addicts overdose. Addiction is an ugly disease. Those affected often feel they have no choice but to use. They are hopeless and can't see the way out. For this, they do not deserve death. They deserve the life-saving efforts that first responders of this city would provide to any other resident in need. To do this, the first responders in the Clearwater Police Department need Narcan. I respectfully recommend the council authorize Clearwater Police Department to accept the grant from the Florida Health Department's Heroes Program to update the department Narcan supply. Thank you for your time allowing me to address you and for meeting to lead our city in these difficult times. Also, thank you to Lieutenant Spellman for her assistance, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the council.
Thank
Good
you,
evening.
sir. Have you filled out a card with the clerk?
I did.
Super, thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public wishing to speak to agenda item 7.7? Motion?
Motion to approve agenda item 7.7.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve agenda item 7.7. Comments, council? Mr. Hamilton?
Just my standard, tell Mr. Cronshnable we said hello.
Any other comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 8.1, Mr. Horn. Oh, well, before we do that, you would think that after 8 years, I would remember to introduce the council and to say, if you have a cell phone or other device that goes off, to please silence it. So with that, to my far right is Assistant City Manager Michael Maxwell, our City Manager Bill Horn,
Good evening.
Councilmember Bob Cundiff,
Hi, folks.
Councilmember Jay Poglaze.
Good evening.
To my left, Councilmember David Albritton.
Good evening.
Councilmember Hoyt Hamilton.
Good evening.
Our City Attorney Pam Aiken.
Good evening.
And our City Clerk Rosemarie Call.
Good evening.
Now, agenda item 8.1, Mr. Horn.
Thank you, Mayor. Amend the city's fiscal year 2019-2020 operating and capital improvement budgets at first quarter and pass ordinances 9385-20 and 9386-20 on first reading. Ms. Castle.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. This is the first quarter budget review for fiscal year 2019-20. I went over the report with you on Monday, but I'd be happy to answer any additional questions you may have.
Any questions of staff on agenda item 8.1? Anybody from the public to speak to agenda item 8.1?
Move to approve agenda item 8.1.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to approve agenda item 8.1. Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Aiken.
Ordinance number 9385-20, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the operating budget for the fiscal year ending September 30th, 2020. to reflect increases and decreases in revenues and expenditures for the general fund, special program fund, stormwater fund, gas fund, solid waste and recycling fund, air park fund, marine fund, parking fund, general services fund, administrative services fund, and garage fund, as provided herein, providing an effective date.
I would make a motion to approve ordinance 9385-20 and ordinance 90.
No, one at a time.
I have to read the second one.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass ordinance 9385-20 on first reading. Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Call.
Ordinance number 9386-20, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending the capital improvement budget for the fiscal year ending September 30, 2020, to reflect a net increase of $1,034,201, providing an effective date.
Move to pass ordinance 9386-20 on first reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to pass ordinance 9386-20 on first reading. Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Agenda item 9.1, Ms. Aiken.
Ordinance number 9378-20, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating a portion of a dedicated right-of-way described as that part of lots 1 and 12 Midway subdivision, according to the map or plat thereof, as recorded in Plat Book 13, page 4 of the Public Records of Pinellas County, Florida, providing an effective date.
I move that we adopt ordinance 9378-20 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9378-20 on second reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Agenda item 9.2, Ms. Call.
Ordinance number 9379-20, an ordinance of the City of Clearwater, Florida, vacating a 70-foot drainage and utility easement as described in official records book 5880, page 343 of the Public Records of Pinellas County, Florida, providing an effective date.
I make a motion to adopt ordinance 9379-20 on second reading.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt ordinance 9379-20 on second reading. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Mr. Horn, do you have any other business for the council?
Mayor, council, the only thing I would have is just to give you an update as to what happened at the Pinellas Board of County Commissioners Emergency Management Meeting that they held at 2 p.m. this afternoon to discuss emergency measures and other topics related to COVID-19. In that meeting, they passed a motion, and Pam might have to revise, or is this?
Yes. This is the resolution that I'm going to bring up.
Okay, all right. But what the county did is that they passed a motion that will be developed into an emergency order that they will issue tomorrow that would close all public beaches and would close what we think we heard was county public parking, but we're not real sure if it's just county public parking or all public parking. And we will be working those details out tomorrow as the county attorney and the county administrator and the county sheriff get together and kind of determine exactly what's going to be in the order, and then issue the order, or at least a draft of the order, so we all can see what that means. So there's more to happen tomorrow. There is a 1 o'clock meeting scheduled for it tomorrow afternoon, at which time we believe we'll have copies of the order and as well as answers to a number of our questions. And I'm sure that our city attorney will be much more informed about just exactly, what are the parameters that are at play compared to our resolution.
Any questions of Mr. Horn from the council? Mr. Hamilton?
Either for city manager or city attorney, but I watched the meeting as well, and my take on it, and hopefully I got it right in the clarification I was looking at, they were considering and talking about the county parking lots that provided direct access onto county beaches, and basically, they were basically talking about everything south of Clearwater, from what I could tell. They weren't really, they kept mentioning Clearwater in a different message and a different thing. So, I'm hoping that was the right way to hear it, because, there's beach businesses, yes, my family's included, that are going to make every effort to try and stay open and serve the public to the degree the public wants it, as long as we can economically afford to do so. If their order is to close down our public parking lots, they've basically shut down not just the beach, but the beach businesses as well. So.
Well, I would just like to say before Pam comments, County Administrator is very, very much sensitive to how we put all this together, and he intends to work with all of the cities to make sure that we achieve the County Commissioner's intent while working with us.
I believe that wholeheartedly. I have no problem with that.
I was just going to say that I believe that their motion, and they repeated it several times, several different times, that it was for county public parking, county beach parking. I do not believe it was intended to include all public parking. So, and again, I think the county manager kind of confirmed that to you in the discussion. So,
Let's clarify also then, from our perspective, what we passed yesterday, the impact was not on our parking lots.
no, actually. So what you adopted yesterday was to close the beach, the public bathing beaches, and they were enumerated. And then you had a section that allowed the emergency manager to regulate the parking as necessary
Right.
to implement that. And I believe that the chief does have a plan for how to do that. So you did have a piece that dealt with parking, and it was to assure that the beach parking was closed down, but there was still parking for the businesses.
Right. Okay.
However, their action will supersede your action. Because they are preempting us, and they can do that. So the beach will be closing down 2 days earlier than you had intended. I believe they also, though, extended their closure to end when your closure would have ended. So that was the discussion, and I think that's where they ended up. So their closure is really like 16 days.
Okay.
11:59 tomorrow night.
Okay. But the manager is going to work with the county administrator and that staff to make sure that our businesses will have access. And our street parking, where it's paid parking, would not be part of that, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Albritton?
So you're looking for a motion to adopt this resolution?
No,
This
not
is
yet.
different.
We're not there yet.
I'll get you there.
We're not there yet. He was just giving us a report.
Okay.
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Sir,
that's all I have.
Okay, any other questions of Mr. Horn?
No, just
Yeah.
not really a question, just that re-emphasizing that important point. For those people that didn't watch the county commission meeting, tomorrow night, 11:59, not Monday morning, the 23rd at 6 a.m.
Correct.
because of county authority over this.
Yes.
Right. And I have had a conversation with Amplified President and CEO Amanda Payne is aware.
Okay,
I've talked to her.
okay. So you have nothing further
I
for
have
us,
nothing
Mr. Horn?
further.
Okay, Ms. Aiken?
I have passed out to you a resolution 20-12, and this resolution amends the resolution you adopted last night. It does not impact the beach closure. The purpose of this amendment is to remove section 2, subsection 3, which addressed the closure of businesses after 10 o'clock. It created some exceptions. Our exceptions were probably not broad enough, and rather than trying to refine that, since the county is not closing all businesses at 10 o'clock. We're recommending that you just take that particular provision out. There probably aren't, the concern we had was manufacturing, distribution, industrial, etc., that weren't included in our exemption. And some of them may be going to split shifts and extending shifts in order to get their separation of employees, and we do not want to interfere with that. So if they need to stay open after 10 o'clock in order to achieve the separations that are being required or recommended by CDC, we don't want to interfere with any of that. So I recommend we just take that Section 3 out altogether. Yes, sir?
Yeah, no, that's fine, but for the public's information, the sale of alcohol still ceases at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Yes.
That is unchanged. That is the county
Right.
has done that.
Okay.
And so sale of alcohol in restaurants, it's actually the sale and
Right.
service of alcohol. Package stores close when package stores close. They're not limited to 10
Or
o'clock.
run out.
Yeah.
Or run out.
Any other questions, council? And again, Ms. Akins, clarify, the county's ordinance supersedes the city's ordinance.
It does.
And a state directive and ordinance would supersede the county or the city.
I'm not sure the county is actually doing this by ordinance or order. It doesn't
Okay.
really matter. They do supersede us. If the governor's office or executive order, they can also supersede the county if they choose to in their area of regulation. So it comes down from the feds, the state, the county, and then us.
Very good, thank you. Any other questions, council? So you need a motion to approve this agenda item or just to approve the resolution?
I think we can go straight to the resolution.
Okay.
A resolution of the City of Clearwater, Florida, amending Resolution 20-11, emergency measures, providing an effective date. It's resolution number 20-12.
I would move to adopt resolution 20-20? 12.
20-12.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to adopt resolution 20-12. Anybody from the public to speak to this motion? Comments, council? Well, again, I think on behalf of all of us, we appreciate the work that our county commission has done, our public safety officers and our staff, especially our emergency management team that has been meeting with the county for really 2 or 3 weeks now, trying to address this. And again, to remind our residents how important it is for them to follow these guidelines that have been presented and follow these ordinances that are being passed. Our hope from everybody is that by doing this, we will be able to shorten the duration and the extent of this virus and be able to return to normal as quickly as possible. So we appreciate everybody's support and contribution and just following these guidelines. Motion has been made and seconded to adopt resolution 20-12. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries unanimously. Ms. Aiken, do you have anything further for us?
No, sir.
Closing comments, Mr. Albright.
Oh, really? Okay. Well, I wanted to congratulate Frank Hibbard and Kathleen Beckman and Mark Bunker on winning the election, and look forward to working with them after they get a couple of weeks. And I also want to give my thanks and tell George Criticus, Jay Poglaze, and Bob Cundiff how much I enjoyed working with them over these past years, and wish them well.
You'll get a chance to see us on April the 2nd.
I know, I know.
Say it again.
Thank you.
But this is,
Say it again.
but, yeah.
Thank you very much. Mr. Poglaze.
I have no final comments other than this was a very tough decision. It was not easy. I want to thank Mayor Criticus for helping to turn my position on this closure of beaches around that and the statistics of the rest of the state. And I would like to think that we helped encourage the county commission to do what was right. These are trying times, and this isn't about the city of Clearwater and tourism. This is worldwide, and I've spoke to many physicians, actually 4, over the past couple days. 2 of them are on one side of this. The other side thinks that this is not a good enough reason to go into a recession. This is like any other virus, and it will work its way out. And it was not easy.
Yeah.
So, but it was the right thing to do, and I think we'll get through this in time.
Mr. Hamilton.
Yes, well, as David said, a quick thank you, and it's been a pleasure serving with the 3 of you, but we'll get a chance at the next meeting to give our extended thank yous. And to piggyback with what Jay said, it was a tough decision, and I as we've all learned, however long we've done this job, you learn to get some pretty thick skin, because when people are sending in emails from Madison, Wisconsin, telling me that, I have no regard for public health and this, that, and the other, they wouldn't know me if I walked up and slapped them. You don't put a whole lot of, I don't put a whole lot of thought into anything like that, because anybody that knows me knows that that's absolutely not true. But they also know, and most of those people probably don't own a business and write a paycheck. They may get a paycheck, but they don't write it, and they're not responsible for it. And, I'm trying to balance, and my family balances the public health. We take every precaution possible to protect the public and our customers, but we also have a family. We consider family our employees, and we want to be able to provide them with every opportunity to keep making money that they absolutely can get. So, but anybody that thinks I don't care about the public health, you don't know me, and I'm not worried about your opinion. Now, that being said, now I'm going to get to this. I'd like to congratulate Frank, Kathleen, and Mark on their victories in the election. But I personally, I'm glad the election is over, because I was getting real tired, and I'm sure my colleagues were, of all the candidates out there doing their campaigns and telling everybody what a lousy job we've been doing. Because apparently, according to one of the candidates' literature, Clearwater had gone to hell in a handbasket in apparently 16 to 20 short months after he left the council after being here for 14 years. So, I was a little taken back by that. And I was, part of it amused me, because many of the candidates were using the in vogue terms of transparency and accountability, and the real funny one is fiscal responsibility. Given the requirement that we have to adhere to the Sunshine Law, we're not allowed to take any action unless it happens right here on this dais in front of the entire public. I don't know how much more transparent we can be, but I'm looking forward to learning how to be more transparent. And as far as accountability, we're accountable every day. We go to the grocery store, we're at our job, or other jobs possibly, and people come up and say stuff to us. We're accountable every single day. And like I said, fiscal responsibility. Everybody runs, when they're running for office, I'm a fiscal conservative, and I'm going to be fiscally responsible. And it's like, I challenge you to find me one person who's ever run for public office, and especially got elected with the mantra that they're going to come in and they're going to spend your money like a drunken sailor. I get amused by that. I challenge you to find a person running for office that says they're not fiscally conservative or responsible. Now for the most irritating and disturbing aspect of the election season, the injection of partisan politics into these races. Anybody who has sat here knows, I'll guarantee you, collectively, all 5 of us, and every decision we've made since we've been together as a council, collectively, there hasn't been 1/2 second given, thought-wise, as to whether or not this vote helps Republicans or Democrats, the Republican position or Democrat position, because it doesn't come into play at this level. It doesn't, and it shouldn't. For those that ran, and brought partisan politics into it, please don't ever consider running for public office at this level again, because there's no place for it. And, you know, shame on the political parties themselves for getting involved, because they know at this level. Now, yes, people that serve at this level could be the stepping stone to a higher level, and you can identify who they are, but you shouldn't participate in the election at this level, because partisan politics be damned at this level. Now, just a real quick, and I'll give you an example. You know, for about 220 years, our country operated very well with the ability to compromise. And I think the mayor experienced that many times when he was working for Congressman Young. Compromise is what got things done. But in the last 20, 25 years, there is no compromise almost. The political parties are so diametrically opposed to each other that the Republicans say it's our way or no way, the Democrats say it's our way or no way. And, you know, one of the examples I can give, you know, like I say, Washington's broke, and if you want that here, you're wrong. But one of the best examples I can give is the old joke that, you know, 10 years ago, if Barack Obama had walked across the Potomac River, the Republican Party would have said, well, the only reason he's doing that is because he doesn't know how to swim. And conversely, today, if President Trump were to do the same thing, the Democrats would say the same thing. Well, he doesn't know how to swim. That's the only reason he's walking. So Washington is broke. And if you think that model needs to be brought to this level, don't get involved, please, because you're not doing anybody any favors. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
You exceeded your time limit, Mr. Hamilton, but I yielded two of my 3 minutes to you.
I just want to know how he really feels.
Mr. Cundiff.
I thought he was going to say when the mayor was working with John Adams. Said it was 200 some years ago.
I'm not that old.
I know. I'm older than you are by a little bit. I concur with pretty much what everybody said this evening. Thank you all. And I would encourage you in small groups to visit our restaurants these next couple of weeks. Go to them, buy a big meal or two or three, and help our restaurant.
And tip well.
And tip well. And that's all. Thanks.
Well, like everyone had said, congratulations to Mr. Hibbard and Ms. Beckman and Mr. Bunker. They will be sworn in on March the 30th, and we'll be conducting that. Well, if we have that work session, I don't know whether that's been determined yet, but at the April the 2nd meeting is when the formal transition will take place. I want to express our appreciation on behalf of the entire City Council, not only to my colleagues for the work that they've been doing these last few weeks regarding this coronavirus, but also to our employees and to our citizens. We have never had anything like this before, and I'm sure all of us would agree that we would never wish this on anybody. It's especially difficult as you're leaving to have this over your head, but it's going to be even as difficult, if not more so, to have the new council come in and have to deal with this crisis. So hopefully some of the actions that we've taken will make it easier for the future and for all of our citizens. Again, let me remind you, unfortunately, that our libraries are closed, our rec centers are closed, our beach is closed. Special events have been closed. Ruth Eckerd Hall is closed. The aquarium is closed. But don't let that get you down. Support, as was indicated, our local businesses. They need us now more than ever, and we need to support those families that depend on people eating in the restaurants and going to different things on the beach and really throughout the community. And also, finally, again, let us remind everybody how important it is to wash your hands, to keep your social distance. If you are not feeling well, please stay home. Don't help spread this or whatever illness you may have to somebody else. That just should not be done. It is inconvenient, but this too shall pass. Thank you all for spending part of the evening with us tonight. Drive safely, stay well, and we are adjourned until our next meeting on April the 2nd.